No,
we need you, Uber.
Call him out and message to them and figure it out.
Production, put up the counter right now. 5 minutes. Uber rants.
I'm sick of having to say provocative shit to get the attention of people in power.
Like, we just all be civil?
Yeah, like why can't they just do their due diligence instead of me having to sit here and like use a bunch of frankly like nasty ad hominem and just really, you know, obtuse ways of painting them as the enemy when they're maybe not really, you know.
Want to.
Yeah. Oh, shit, man. I don't know.
You want to love them.
We've got a lot to talk about here as well. I mean, we can still complain. There's plenty of things to complain about.
A lot.
Because the formats in EU are still fucked. They're still fucked.
I don't know how Uber, like, yo, it has been like 8 months now. 8 months.
Yep.
I don't get this anymore, man. Like, yeah, it's been 8 months. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's been vocal about it. Everybody's been on the same page about it. How we need at least something else than BO1s for EU. And I know it's gonna come later in here too, but there's like one person from Riot in Europe that's like, yeah, it's a missed mark after they try to come back and like reassess and have like a debriefing meeting about how First Strike went in EU, and like, yeah, we kind of missed the mark on doing BO1s. It won't happen again. But then you're looking at the open qualifiers for VCT Challengers #1 has been BO1s all the way up to like what, round of 16 or round of 32, whatever. And then open qualifiers #2 is the same fucking rules. You're still going BO1s until open 32s. What the fuck is going on?
So yeah, obviously now the qualifiers. Can we go back to the tweet that David P made, because the tweet's important, but also the response. Now, obviously, yeah. So the qualifier for European Champions Stage 1 was best of ones. Now there weren't. If you look through the bracket, there weren't sort of too many top teams that got kind of screwed out of their positions. Generally speaking, it was okay. I mean, I guess Entropic is one of the teams, but they lost.
Man, they fucking lost to Entropic,
right?
Because of bad seedings and BO1s.
So both Entropic and Team Heretics get sort of knocked out of this. Now, David P is trying to be kind of nice about this. I don't think he feels this way. I think he's just Belgian as fuck. You know, Def says, "Hey, listen, this is not fair. Like, I don't know. I'm not really sure why that you're sort of trying to make this seem okay. You cannot, especially the way Valorant works, and especially a lot of the, I guess, complaints that teams have had with, you know, trying to achieve some sort of consistency and result in performance. You can't do this. Now, Riot Proa, right? That's your name, yeah? You haven't tweeted since mid-December. I don't need you to be a social media mogul, but you definitely need to speak on this topic. You need to get on Reddit, you need to get on some platform, and you need to explain to people why the fuck this thing that you said was a complete miss and wasn't good is still happening, right? So you said you missed the mark. You said no excuses. I appreciate that kind of candor. But you can't just fucking fade off into the ether after saying that it's really important that we get this right, and then, you know, the exact same mistake is being repeated. So I don't quite understand where the breakdown in communication is occurring. There are angels tweeting that sort of stuff. You see Dev tweeting about it. Damon, after Monkey Business win, gets on a fucking live interview, and the first thing he says is, get rid of these best of ones to Yinsu in this interview. You cannot miss this. It's just like, this is like a bunch of hornets stung you on the face. It's like, you can't hide this, right? This is an issue that needs to be addressed now. And why? I don't understand why this is happening. And this happened back in the LEC. You know, I think there was for a time, it was like, yes, we'll see in NA, we're going to try having best of threes, you know, because, you know, North Americans are used to series. Look at the World Series. Look at basketball. I mean, it's not over after one game. But EU, we're going to give them best of ones in the EU LCS because...
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, we're going to see if it works. I mean, and maybe they use a sports analogy to justify that, but you forget that obviously there are a lot of situations in European sports, i.e. football, where you have two legs, right? A home and away leg. But I remember something along that line. Now, I understand this is where you're testing things out, right? We're in a time where we need to We need to sort of sort this shit out. Why the fuck are you going to have best of ones until the round of 8? Like, this is not how you build a region, right? This is not how you develop it.
Yeah.
And if it's Freaks for you, by the way, who I'm familiar with their company and their workings, I still ask, who is not telling them this? Do they not have eyes out there? Can they not afford to run best of 3s? Is their broadcast too constrained?
You know
Who-
what? It's
Yeah.
Go
sorry.
first, Valley. Go ahead.
All right, this is gonna
Why
be
is Riot
short.
deciding this?
I don't know. It's really confusing. We have the same thing happening in Rainbow Six. I'm gonna let you know now. This has happened for about a year now, and people are not happy about the difference of best of 1 in Europe and best of 3 in NA, because one region is just way ahead of Europe right now, and it's gonna be the one with the best of 3. But now this is where shit gets scary, right? And you're gonna have to think logically about this and think realistically. We can't put on like our blinders to this. There's a realistic scenario where G2 might not even make it to the big stage for Masters. They can lose another best of 1. And now you have your biggest org in Europe missing out because the best of 1.
Yeah.
Anything can happen in the best of 1, and that's the scary thing about it. But Vans, go ahead, man. It's
Yeah,
upsetting.
so yeah, no, definitely. The first thing I want to say is that disclaimer that we saw from the Reddit thread from Crower, because it said 2 days ago, but the thing is, it's just because it was a repost. So that post actually came
Last
out
year.
like last year, coming out of First Strike. So again, they looked at First Strike, they see how everything went in NA, how everything went in EU and all the other regions, and then like, yeah, we missed the mark on VO1s. Now they're still doing it. Now in Europe, they also have 256 teams. So
That's twice NA. That's twice NA, right?
it's twice than NA. NA has 128, EU has 256, which maybe could be one of the factors as to why you want to bring
Best
it
of
down a little
2.
bit too. Yeah, I mean, best of 2s or whatever, but at least like it doesn't necessarily need to add more into manual labor, maybe in admins if it comes down to like
That shit's
VO3s or something like
automated
that,
half the time.
Yes.
Like the Battlefy platforms and such are fucking fully automated. You know what I mean?
Let's get to it,
It's been
man.
happening for years.
So you're not missing out on much, and if it's going to be disputes and stuff like that too, I don't think it happens quite often from experience and hanging out
Really?
in discords where you have captains meeting and stuff like that too. Like it doesn't happen as much, except when Guild got disqualified. That's another
Hey
story for
Vans,
First Strike.
Vans, do me a favor. Slap your Android phone real quick. Is blurry.
Oh,
I'm talking about the webcam.
yeah. I don't know. I think it's just my connection, but I mean that could be one thing. But I gotta say that definitely they're missing the mark on something here to just continue to have BO1s. It's quite frustrating to think about at that point.
Why are we not hearing anything from Riot about this? Like, please,
Yeah,
like,
so-
It's
come
hard
on,
to
just
develop like talent
Yeah,
and real
and-
storylines.
And the other thing I wanted to talk about too was the this whole format kind of thing is as to when Lothar and Ryan were saying, hey, they don't have any say or word as
it's
Freaks for
Riot,
You.
yeah.
So I guess Freaks for You, they were just a production company to be able to broadcast this, but there's got to
Mhm.
be some tournament organizer if it's not right, right? Because if I know, if I stand, I could stand corrected, but I think I'm right when I say for First Strike, for example, when we wanted to have formats and we wanted to have RFP, so people bidding to be able to produce First Strike in North America for the qualifiers. So we're talking about UMG and for NSG. If you've noticed, for NSG, they've only had one bracket, 128 teams, best out of 3 all the way. But UMG decided to run 2 qualifiers. So it's not necessarily right in North America that had the say. They had the final say, but the final say / stamp of approval for what the production company / TO wanted to come out with for the format and how it should be played out, at least in their eyes, and they approved it. So somebody is doing something in EU where Riot EU has the final stamp. But who's doing that right now to say BO1s is the way, and who's the one that's stamping to say that BO1 is correct?
Well,
That's where it
yeah.
needs to be worked on and fixed.
It's probably, I'll be honest, it's probably Riot because I worked for a TO for years.
Yeah.
I worked for ESL full time, and I saw behind the curtain at how the tender process works, how RFP works, how talent acquisition works, how
Mhm.
developer liaison works, all of that stuff. I was in the meetings for a lot of these things. Back then, obviously, that was at the time when Riot was slowly bringing all of their League of Legends operations in house. So that was just a really tumultuous and weird time, anyway, because the LCS used to run out of the ESL studio in Cologne before
Yeah.
they moved to Berlin. I think it's someone at Riot. I don't get me wrong. Freaks for You have the capacity for a full service, right? They're a full service esports company. They're definitely running it all. There's no doubt about that. I don't think they're splitting the load with anyone else.
Yeah.
You know, I would just like a rationale for this. Like, it's just not hard. I think the amount of people that you can maybe placate by just explaining this a little bit more would be really good. I don't know, you know, I speak more with the Riot Europe guys than I do with NA. You know, they're not that hard to get in touch with for me. I don't really know why that there's been a radio silence that's been maintained about this issue. Maybe they forgot. Maybe
this is where we need you again.
no,
We need you, Uber.
Call him out
I'm
and
sick-
message to them and figure it out.
Production, put up the counter right now. 5 minutes. Uber rants.
I'm sick of having to say provocative shit to get the attention of people in power.
Can we
Like,
just
why the
all be
fuck?
civil?
Yeah, like why can't they just do their due diligence instead of me having to sit here and like use a bunch of frankly like nasty ad hominem and just really you know obtuse ways of painting them as the enemy when they're maybe not really, you know.
Want to.
Oh shit, man, I don't
You
know.
want to
Look,
love them so
Okay.
much.
Now, just to add salt to the wound or whatever that
Uh-oh.
fucking saying is, but like, shout out to Pat is doing stuff and Ian in the chat too, because the tweet came out now. Because I remember seeing it, but I forgot who said it. Now it's from Caesar. That if there's more than 256 teams, right, as we mentioned that there probably is for the Open
Yeah.
Qualifier number 2,
day
it's
one.
gonna be
Yeah.
BO1s to round 6, which potentially could be BO1 to top 8.
Oh.
It doesn't matter at that point.
Okay, can you at least make a double elim? Like, can we? Is
No,
there not like
apparently
a
not.
middle ground?
Apparently
it
fucking
doesn't
not.
matter at that point. That is
that's it.
scary.
That's it. Because you're going to have, as I just mentioned before, potentially another series where it's going to be Heretics versus Entropic, and it's going to be a BO1 where one of these teams, because of, again, if anything, how do you determine correct seeding? You have 256 teams playing BO1s into round of 16, round of 8s, where how are you going to have that knowledge, having this game that's so new, to be able to seed them correctly so that the bracket makes sense at some point?
Can you imagine a premier organization and team and possibly G2 not making it? That is insane. And the fact that they're doing that at top 8, at least top 16. Please, at least that.
Because if you're looking at it now, like the teams that have to requalify from the top 8, sorry if we're skipping ahead in the schedule, but G2 has to requalify. Guild Esports has to
Yes.
Fnatic, Liquid, and then you have Heretics.
Oh
Entropic,
and all these teams like Heats, all these new like Vitality that just got picked up, right? So the OG team, there's 8 teams right there that I've mentioned where there's
the OG team are through.
Are they through?
Yeah, OG.
Oh yeah, it's my
OG
sorry.
won. They went through, yeah.
Yeah, so okay, 7 teams that I've mentioned then that didn't make it through, and they have to requalify, very similar to NA right now, where you don't have the TSMs and everything too, but at least we have fucking BO3s.
Yeah, but still, people like T100 Thieves and TSM still get knocked out in best of 3s. So there is a small
And that's
other
justified
side.
though, right? At that point,
That's
it's justified.
In A, the best of 3, the competition, like everything we're seeing in A, like TSM lost, and it made complete sense to me.
They lost to Exet. It's
It
a
makes
team
sense.
that we're going to
That might
mention
make
is-
sense. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense for these losses sometimes. Not the 100 Thieves one, but at the same time, at least they had a BO3.
That makes sense too. You know what I'm saying? Like, come
Yeah.
on.
I want to.
Come on, Europe.
I don't know other podcasts. I don't know if they're doing this. Can I just please call other podcasts out? Can you please assist us in trying to apply pressure on these tournament organizers or on Riot to at least just tell us what the hell's going on? All right, not trying to get paid by Riot in 6 months' time and start doing the right thing. Let's go. Let's make it happen. I want to know why this is happening for the sake of the fucking thousands of players that have to qualify under these conditions. For the love of God, please.
I have an idea. At the beginning of every major podcast in Valorant, we should all open with the segment about getting rid of best of ones in Europe. And we should all do it. We should do it at the beginning, the middle, and the end, and just fucking meme it until it's fucking gone. We need to come together as a family. We are the power of Valorant. We hold the power here. We're the people.
I mean, yeah, we're the Planeteers. You can be one too, but I don't really.
I try.
I don't need them just to fucking abolish best of ones. What I'd love is to begin a conversation about why this is happening. Give me some rationale. You know, Evermore, you know, who works for Riot NA, is fantastic at this. Obviously, the guys must have some time, or he's spending some time specifically to talk to people about why their ranked games are so shit. Why is it so hard to have someone go, hey, there's a reason why we're working with best of one, even if there isn't shit. I mean, God, you could at least start the conversation about it. I think the really
Mhm.
important part in a burgeoning esports scene is to give the teams that are spending hours and hours and hours playing, preparing for these matches, some sense of agency, some sense of ownership, because they are stakeholders. All right, teams like Heretics are stakeholders in Valorant esports. They're August spent money, they spent time, like they like it or not, right? They own part of this as well, and I think that they deserve to understand your direction, your decision making, because it directly affects them and their livelihoods because
Yep.
they're professional gamers. There has to be a partnership here between the developers and the tournament organizers and the players, because without without a great sense of communication through all three of these, you don't have a functional scene. You have a lot of drama, bullshit, misinformation on Twitter, and everyone looking from the outside in thinks you're a joke. Trust
Yeah.
me, I've worked on the Overwatch League. I worked on the Overwatch for so long. I've seen what these broken down relationships can do, not only to the league itself, but the perception from the outside. Okay, sort it out.
to and what I've learned from when I've worked in corporations and sales and stuff like that too is like when things are not working out or there's a clash between the employees and like direction of management and stuff like that too. A management now is finally more open to say why, right? The biggest question is why, and you want to answer that why. And maybe it might make some employees frustrated, but at the same time, you're going to have some employees that are going to be critically thinking about the ways to find a solution to make sure that both of these areas from top to bottom kind of like aligns with each other. So I'm not saying that the person that has to justify the why has to be making a public statement to let everybody on Reddit know, and then that's just going to add more fuel to the fire. But if you have the right channels and start communicating the whys and to back things and bring some other people in that can maybe help out to like find these solutions, then let's do it. Because right now the biggest question or the easiest thing or the easiest answer is to say, well, just switch it to fucking BO3. What's the
Mhm.
issue there? There's got to be a reason why they cannot do BO1 or BO3s rather. And what is that reason? And how can we make it better so that we both could actually agree to some sort of common ground or solution?